Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoyed these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. And if you love this watch, you could see it and you could purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing the 5-piece limited edition Bethune DB28GS, GS for Grand Sport, as this is the company's sports watch, part of the model family launched in 2015, 100 meters water resistant with all of the underlying ergonomic, aesthetical, and mechanical goodness that won the GPHG Agudo back in 2011. Now the timepiece on my wrist is grade 5 titanium and quite light on the wrist. 44 millimeters in diameter. You can see it's a substantial timepiece, though it doesn't feel like a 44 on the wrist. In terms of thickness, well, less than you'd expect at 11.4 millimeters thick. The timepiece will slide underneath the cuff, and that's most unexpected given the size and the look. It has a variable geometry lug system, so you can see the floating lugs, which are both spring-loaded and pivoted, give it a variable 53 to 58 millimeter distance across the wrist, and there is a short lug option available for the watch, so if you have a smaller wrist and the watch goes back for service, you can actually have a smaller set of lugs fitted to the watch to change its fit and its geometry on the wrist. The spacing for the strap is 26 millimeters, and as you can see, it is a custom strap which is both sized for the 26 millimeter lug spacing and cut to conform nicely with the curvature of the interior of the lugs. The lugs are in handsome satin finish, and you can see at their ends the ogival or torpedo-like shape. That's a nod back to the very first Bethune timepiece, the DB1 chronograph of 2002. The strap features a brushed striation pattern across its top with a little bit of a cross cut, and you can see that in profile it's a nice slender strap, vulcanized rubber, very substantial but also very supple and pliant. You can see the Bethune logo on the underside, and that also allows for a little bit, as you can see there's a hollowing on the underside that allows for a little bit of aeration of the wrist on a hot day. Now there's a matching satin finished titanium pin buckle, and you can see it actually parallels the look of the floating lug system itself. The case is short, stout, cylindrical, and all of high polish. It's simple in its lines, but again, it's not as thick as you'd think. At only 11.4 millimeters thick. It is a bullhead, and it features a screw-down crown with double knurling and satin finish, with which you wind the twin self-adjusting mainspring barrels, a patent for Bethune, and it is a 6-day power reserve. Now the dial is deeply dished, multi-layered, and impressive with different textures, tones, materials, and colors. From the outside in, you can see that the bezel features polished titanium cabochons that act as the individual hour indices external to the dial. We'll get a little bit closer here. You can see that there is a sloped Rayhaut sector style with blueprint. It has a satin metallic finish, and against that scale you can read the minutes of the day. A fire blued hand at center for the minutes, and I will note underneath that you can see a multi-part skeletonized hour hand, and I love the extension to the very edge of the flanged Rayhaut, and you can actually see that the hour hand sits somewhat underneath it. The three-dimensional quality of this dial is second to none. Now there's a lovely Delta-style bridge over the center that covers the twin mainspring barrels that provide that 6-day power reserve, and you can see it is quite exquisite with a sort of microlight texturing. That's what Bethune calls this pattern. And then at center there is a black polished cap that segues into the double shock protection system on the flanks of the balance bridge. Now a balance bridge rather than a half bridge or balance cock is better for shock resistance, but this one's even better still, as the black polished springs on the outer edge are part of the proprietary triple parachute shock protection system. So you have shock protection on each side. Designed by Bethune, it coordinates with the recentering and balance staff cushioning of the Inca block at center. Now the bridge is entirely black polished like the center bridge and the springs themselves, and underneath that you can see there's a mirrored disc underneath the silicon and white gold balance wheel that is also of the company's own design. It is thermally resistant, so it won't change its timing qualities or in hot or cold weather. It maximizes its polar moment by putting all of its white gold mass on the outer rim, and it is an aerodynamic balance, so it minimizes frictional losses due to air inside the watch. You'll also note just above it there is an off-centered quasi-dogleg shape to the hairspring, and it is a proprietary hairspring designed by Bethune watchmaking maestro Denis Flageolet to give you the same concentric beating qualities in any position of a Breguet overcoil, but without the shock vulnerabilities that an overcoil has. Now I should also mention that you can't see it, There is a silicone escape wheel underneath the balance wheel, also of the company's own design, that endows the watch with superb frictional resistance that is as low as possible between the actual pallet and the pallet stones and the escape wheel itself. All of that's optimized, and as you can see, there is a dial side power reserve with a power reserve scale up and down at approximately 2 o'clock on the dial. Turn it all over, and this is exclusivity incarnate. The California limited edition, 5 pieces, of which this is lucky number 3. A spectacular timepiece from a company that only builds 150 watches a year. De Bethune of L'Auberçon is truly the next big thing in independent watchmaking. See it and wear it on the Watchbox.